something rare is happening on the East African coastline. Tanzania did the unthinkable. It waited 10 years and said no to a port deal that would have sold its future. And now, Bagamoyo Megaport is finally moving forward, but on Tanzania's terms. This isn't charity, it's not dependency, it's not China saving Africa. This is a contract rewritten with African spine. By all means, partnership is welcome, but ownership is not for sale. And remember, if you want more Africa First stories the Western media often ignores, hit subscribe because we don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth behind them. So, Bagamoyo is not just a port, it's a declaration. You can bring your money, but you won't take our sovereignty. Now, let's take a look at this presentation about how Dar es Salaam port is doing and why this Bagamoyo megaport is necessary.
Unlocking maritime potential. The main dock in Tanzania's biggest city, Dar es Salaam, has recorded its highest ever cargo volume, more than 27 million tons in goods over the past 12 months. This growth, officials say, is attributed to infrastructure upgrades and improved operational efficiency. And analysts believe more potential can be unlocked.
Ultimately, whoever is being saved by our port, but our facilities and so on, would want actually to be saved as, if he's a rational customer, at as low price, as competitive price as possible. But also even the process that we are using, we can still possibly look for ways on how we can do better.
More trade means more trucks. The government recently launched the Kuala Dry Port about 90 kilometers from the city to try ease congestion at the port of Dar es Salaam.
Kwa kutumia reli hii, mzigo kutoka bandarini.
Using the standard gauge railway, cargo can reach Kuala in 45 minutes to an hour, and the capital Dodoma in 4 to 5 hours. This is a major improvement compared to the 30 to 35 hours trucks take to get to Kuala, plus another 24 hours that was used to get in and out of the port.
Muda huu ni pamoja na masaa 24 hadi 30.
The improvements in cargo handling were made possible by the World Bank-funded Dar es Salaam Maritime Gateway project. Some of the initiatives include deepening the docks and implementing better links to the national rail network. The Tanzania Ports Authority says that in recent years, average cargo handling times at the port have dropped from 30 days to just 72 hours. Serving neighboring countries, the port's improved efficiency doesn't just boost Tanzania's competitiveness, it enhances trade flows across East and Central Africa.
Now, Bagamoyo sits about 75 kilometers north of this Dar es Salaam, and the world has been saying that they wanted to get a piece of it since 2013. China and Oman came knocking with nearly 10 billion USD. A port plus massive industrial hub, it sounded great until they read the fine print, right? A 99-year lease, profit guarantees even if Africa lost money, tax exemptions that would cripple local revenue, restrictions on Tanzania's authority over its own coastline. Imagine signing a deal where someone else controls who docks at your port, how they pay, and who gets priority. That's not investment, that's custody. Foreign investors acted like they were doing Tanzania a favor, then demanded the keys, the title, and a spare key for their friends. So, Tanzania paused the entire project for a decade. No panic, no begging, no diplomatic breakdown. Then Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan's government stepped in, renegotiated the terms, and greenlit a Tanzanian-led, Tanzanian-controlled megaproject. Now the first phase will build 14 of the 28 deepwater berths, a special economic zone, industrial parks and factories, logistics hubs with megaship capacity. Bagamoyo is back, this time, and Africa is the landlord. Now, the world assumes the Western narrative is predictable. Oh no, here goes Africa again. China's taking their ports, another country falling into debt. They're desperate, they had no choice, right? And let's talk like Africa lost a child accepting its stranger for candy, right? So, Tanzania didn't cancel Bagamoyo because it couldn't afford it. It canceled the deal because it understood its value. The government walked away from billions instead of signing a bad contract. And that's not weakness, that's negotiation from a position of dignity. Bagamoyo wasn't delayed, it was protected. Now, sovereignty today is not only war, it's paperwork. Flags, speeches, and independence anniversaries are nothing if we sign away our power quietly. Modern colonization doesn't use armies. Remember, neocolonialism, right? So, Partnership is education. Ownership is sovereignty. Keep the money, keep our terms. So this matters because Bagamoyo prepares Africa for mega vessel trade shipping. It's evolving into larger ships, much more than many African ports can already handle. So the countries with deep water ports shape these African trade routes and global influence. So Bagamoyo positions Tanzania as a maritime rival to Durban, Mombasa, Djibouti, and Port Said, right? So Africa finally builds value at home. A port without industry is a border crossing, and Bagamoyo with the manufacturing zone becomes a wealth machine. So instead of importing finished goods at inflated prices, Tanzania will manufacture locally, process African raw minerals, export with higher market value, right? So that's the difference between being a market and being a producer. So Tanzania just set a legal precedent for Africa. Walking away for over 10 years showed African governments something powerful, right? You can pause development to protect sovereignty. And that's how we break the rushed into debt trap, not by protesting lenders, but by negotiating like owners. So this is important for diaspora and African investors to now have a real chance, because Bagamoyo opens the door for Tanzanian pension funds, East African shipping companies, Pan-African manufacturing, and local logistical startups. So these universities will be training maritime workers, and we don't need to beg foreigners for investment. We need to believe in our own capital. So the next chapter is not about concrete. It's about who holds the keys. To protect this port financially and politically, Tanzania must do a few things, right? So local ownership of operation stakes, Tanzanian engineers, operators, and dockmasters. Manufacturing priority goes to African firms, right? And African shipping companies get docking incentives. So Bagamoyo can trigger a regional revolution. Ugandan routes exports through Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi gain alternative trade routes, and Congolese minerals avoid exploitative routes, right? So the message here isn't that Tanzania just waited. They waited an entire decade rather than sign its sovereignty away. So that was not delay, that was discipline. Remember, partnership is welcome, but ownership must stay African. So, mashallah, that's your African insight for today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm Mr. EmpowerTV. We don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth behind them. I'm Mr. Empower, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.